Listen, I need to tell you something important about those colorful toppings at your local ice cream shop. What if I told you that some of the most popular ice cream toppings could be hiding ingredients that nutritionists actually warn against? And here's the kicker, the ones that look the most appealing might be the worst offenders. Stick around because number 3 is probably sitting in your pantry right now. And what I discovered about it shocked even me. We all love a good ice cream sundae. There's something magical about that cold, creamy base topped with all sorts of delicious additions. But after diving deep into ingredient labels and talking to food scientists, I realized that not all toppings are created equal. Some of them contain ingredients that might make you think twice before drizzling them over your dessert. The ice cream industry is worth billions of dollars, and the topping segment alone generates hundreds of millions annually. But with that kind of money involved, corners get cut, and your health sometimes takes a back seat to profit margins and shelf stability. 1. Let's start with candy-coated chocolate pieces. You know the ones I'm talking about, those brightly colored little rounds that add a satisfying crunch to every bite. They seem innocent enough, right? But here's what most people don't realize. These candies are absolutely loaded with artificial dyes, particularly red 40, yellow 5, and blue 1. These synthetic colors have been linked to hyperactivity in children in several studies, and some European countries have even required warning labels on products containing them. The Southampton study, published in the prestigious medical journal The Lancet, found that certain artificial food colors increased hyperactive behavior in children. That's why you'll notice that the same candy brands actually use natural colorings in Europe, but continue to use artificial dyes in American versions. But it gets worse. The coating on these candies often contains something called shellac, which is actually secreted by lac bugs. Yes, bugs. While it's technically food safe, it's essentially edible insect resin that's used to give these candies their glossy finish. Beyond that, a single serving of these candies can pack in around 15 to 20 grams of sugar. And that's before you even count the ice cream itself. The artificial colors don't add any nutritional value whatsoever. And many of these products also contain partially hydrogenated oils, which are sources of trans fats. Even in small amounts, trans fats can raise your bad cholesterol levels and lower your good cholesterol, increasing your risk of heart disease. The American Heart Association recommends keeping trans fat intake as low as possible. What's particularly concerning is that children are often the biggest consumers of these colorful toppings, and their developing bodies are potentially more vulnerable to these chemical additives. Some parents have reported noticeable behavioral changes in their kids after consuming products with these dyes, though individual sensitivity varies. Now let's talk about commercially made caramel sauce. And this one surprised me because caramel sounds so simple and homemade, doesn't it? Unfortunately, the bottled caramel sauce you buy at the store is a far cry from the real deal. Most commercial caramel sauces contain high fructose corn syrup as their primary ingredient. This sweetener has been associated with increased risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and fatty liver disease when consumed regularly. Unlike regular sugar, high fructose corn syrup doesn't trigger the same fullness signals in your body, which can lead to overconsumption. Research from Princeton University found that rats with access to high fructose corn syrup gained significantly more weight than those with access to table sugar, even when their overall caloric intake was the same. Many brands also add something called sodium benzoate as a preservative, which can form benzene when combined with vitamin C, and benzene is a known carcinogen. The artificial butter flavoring in these sauces often contains diacetyl, a chemical that's been linked to serious lung disease in factory workers who are exposed to it regularly. While the amounts in food are much smaller, it's still concerning. Real caramel is just sugar, butter, and cream heated together. When you look at the ingredient list on commercial caramel sauce and see 15 or 20 ingredients, most of which you can't pronounce, that should be a red flag. These sauces are also incredibly calorie-dense, with some brands packing over 100 calories into just 2 tablespoons. And let's be honest, most of us use way more than that. The sodium content is another hidden issue. Some caramel sauces contain over 200 milligrams of sodium per serving, which is about 10% of your daily recommended intake. That might not sound like much, but it adds up quickly when you're already consuming processed foods throughout the day. The combination of high fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, preservatives, and excessive sodium creates a perfect storm of ingredients that work against your health goals. 3. Here's one that might make you angry because it seems so wholesome, those rainbow sprinkles. They're festive, they're fun, they make everything look like a celebration. But sprinkles are essentially just sugar and artificial colors held together with wax. The primary ingredients are typically sugar, cornstarch, and partially hydrogenated vegetable oils. Some brands use confectioner's glaze, which, like we mentioned before, is made from insect secretions. The artificial colors and sprinkles are some of the most concentrated you'll find in any food product. Red 3, which is commonly used in sprinkles, was actually banned for use in cosmetics by the FDA back in 1990 due to concerns about cancer risk. Yet it's still allowed in food. That doesn't sit right with me. The logic here is baffling. If it's not safe enough to put on your skin, why would it be safe enough to put in your body? Many sprinkles also contain carnauba wax, the same stuff used to polish cars, to give them that shiny appearance. While it's considered food safe, your body can't digest it at all. It just passes through your system. Nutritionally, sprinkles offer absolutely nothing. No vitamins, no minerals, no fiber, no protein. They're pure empty calories with a chemical rainbow coating. A tablespoon of sprinkles contains about 50 calories, all from sugar and artificial ingredients. What really bothers me is how these are specifically marketed toward children. Birthday parties, celebrations, everyday treats. Sprinkles are everywhere in kids' food culture. And yet the ingredient list reads like a chemistry experiment rather than something you'd want growing bodies to consume. Some manufacturers have started offering natural alternatives using vegetable-based dyes from sources like beets, turmeric, and spirulina, but these are still relatively rare and more expensive. The sad truth is that most people never flip over that container to read what's actually in those tiny, colorful decorations. 4 on our list is marshmallow topping. And I'm not talking about actual marshmallows here. I'm talking about that gooey, sticky sauce that comes in a jar. This stuff is basically corn syrup with some chemicals thrown in to make it white and The ingredient list typically starts with corn syrup, followed by high fructose corn syrup, which means you're getting a double dose of this problematic sweetener. These syrups can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar, followed by crashes that leave you feeling tired and craving more sugar. It's a vicious cycle that keeps you reaching for more sweet foods throughout the day. The second or third ingredient is usually artificial flavor because there's nothing natural in there that actually tastes like marshmallow. Many brands add titanium dioxide to achieve that white color. This ingredient has actually been banned as a food additive in Europe as of 2022 due to concerns about DNA damage and potential cancer risk, but it's still widely used in American products. The European Food Safety Authority concluded that titanium dioxide could no longer be considered safe when used as a food additive. Meanwhile, American consumers continue to eat it without even knowing it's there. The texture of marshmallow topping comes from various gums and thickeners like xanthan gum and cellulose gel. While these aren't necessarily harmful, they can cause digestive issues in some people, including bloating and gas. Some people also report that these gums can interfere with nutrient absorption when consumed regularly. Real marshmallows are made from sugar, water, and gelatin whipped into a foam. This jarred stuff is nothing like that. It's cheaper to produce, has a longer shelf life, and delivers that sweet hit that keeps customers coming back. But at what cost to your health? 5. Finally, we need to talk about those bright red, maraschino cherries. These things are probably the most processed fruit you could ever eat. And I use the term fruit very loosely here. Maraschino cherries start their life as regular cherries, but then they go through an intense process. First, they're soaked in a sulfur dioxide and calcium chloride solution to bleach them and make them firm. This strips away their natural color, flavor, and most of their nutrients. Then they're soaked in a high fructose corn syrup solution with red 40 dye to give them that unnaturally bright color. A single maraschino cherry contains about 8 calories, almost all from sugar, and essentially zero nutritional value. All the fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants that were in the original cherry have been stripped away. Fresh cherries are actually incredibly healthy. They're packed with vitamin C, potassium, and powerful antioxidants called anthocyanins that have anti-inflammatory properties. But after the maraschino treatment, you're left with a sugar bomb that bears almost no resemblance to the original fruit. The red 40 dye is the same artificial color we talked about earlier that's been linked to hyperactivity in children. Some brands also add sodium benzoate as a preservative. Studies have shown that when sodium benzoate combines with the ascorbic acid naturally present in cherries, it can form benzene. The amount of actual cherry in a maraschino cherry is debatable at this point. They've been so heavily processed that they're more of a sugar and chemical delivery system than an actual fruit. What's particularly frustrating is that there are brands making naturally processed maraschino cherries using real fruit juice for color and minimal processing. But these premium options cost more and aren't what you'll typically find at ice cream shops or in most grocery stores. So what should you use instead? The good news is, there are so many better options out there. Fresh fruit is always your best bet. Sliced strawberries, blueberries, banana slices, or raspberries add natural sweetness, fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants without any of the problematic ingredients. Fresh fruit also contains water and fiber that help you feel satisfied, unlike the concentrated sugars in processed toppings. You can make your own caramel sauce at home with just sugar, butter, and cream in about 10 minutes, and it tastes infinitely better than the bottled stuff. Dark chocolate chips or cacao nibs give you that chocolate fix along with beneficial flavonoids and antioxidants. Studies have shown that dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao can actually have cardiovascular benefits when consumed in moderation. Chopped nuts like almonds, pecans, or walnuts add healthy fats, protein, and a great crunch. Nuts are one of the healthiest toppings you can choose. They provide sustained energy, help stabilize blood sugar, and contain important minerals like magnesium and zinc. You could even make your own magic shell with just coconut oil and dark chocolate. If you want something sweet and crunchy, try toasted coconut flakes or a small amount of granola made with whole grains and minimal added sugar. Natural nut butters like almond or peanut butter add protein and healthy fats that actually help stabilize your blood sugar. A drizzle of pure maple syrup or raw honey provides sweetness along with trace minerals and antioxidant. Even a small amount of whipped cream made from real heavy cream is a better choice than the chemical-laden toppings we've discussed. The bottom line is this: you deserve better than artificial colors, high fructose corn syrup, and ingredients you can't pronounce. Your ice cream is supposed to be a treat, not a chemistry experiment. I'm not saying you can never have these toppings again, but being aware of what's actually in them helps you make informed choices. Maybe you save them for rare occasions instead of making them a regular thing. Or maybe you decide they're not worth it at all once you know what's really in there. Your health is too important to hand over to food manufacturers who prioritize shelf life and profit margins over your well-being. The food industry spends billions on marketing to make these products irresistible, especially to children, but you have the power to make different choices. Next time you're building your perfect sundae, think about what you're really putting on top. Choose toppings that actually add something beneficial to your treat, not just empty calories and chemicals. Trust me, your body will thank you, and honestly, real ingredients taste so much better anyway. Once you start choosing natural toppings, you'll notice how overly sweet and artificial those processed options taste. Your taste buds will adjust, and you'll find yourself craving real food instead of chemical concoctions. Make the switch today, and you'll be investing in your long-term health while still enjoying the treats you love.